Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's Jordan here. Today we're going to be making some changes to the campground. We're going to be adding trees. As you can see, well, there's no trees here. We're missing trees. Somebody was commenting and saying, hey, your trees are too consistent. There's not enough of them. That's because we're just still working on this area here. There's one giant tree right there that looks pretty good, but I'm actually going to be moving that right away here. Let's actually get that done right now. And I actually took that suggestion from one of the comments below. So thank you guys so much for the comments and ideas. I do appreciate it. I think it does look way better over there, actually. Somebody said, you know, like that big tree house, it's blocking your little creek there that you built the other day, and you really should move it over there. Originally, I was going to put the Ninjago Dojo temple over there, but we can still do that because we still have like 1.5 plates right there where we can put the Dojo temple. So that's going to work. So actually just finished up with the members during a members live stream, and I was building some custom trees. So I'm going to show you all of those different trees over on my build desk over there, and then we're going to place those trees in the campground here. So these are the bins that I used to store away all of the trees from the old campground, right? They were just in here, absolutely destroyed. This was my part bin that I had all my limbs and little spruce trees and stuff in. And then that's just like my other tree drawer. So I got building, I pulled out all this stuff here, and this is what I came up with. I think they look pretty good. And what's really neat about these trees is they're actually very structurally sound as well. So this is what I used to build back in the day. These little tiny ones here, they definitely look good and actually took inspiration from some of the modular buildings. They have these little trees built with like 1x1 cylinders and then the limb elements on the top. And some of them have like little bars running through them just to give them more support so they don't break like this here. So I got thinking to myself, how can I make these same trees but supersized? And actually I saw them at the Empire Lug booth when we were in Brick World Chicago, and I was like, oh man, those trees look so good. How can I make big tall ones just like that there? Well, what I did is actually took this hosing, it's Lego hosing, and I ran it through the center of the cylinders because the cylinders have little holes all the way through them, and so do the tree limbs. So when you run the hose through, you're actually able to build these really sturdy trees that won't fall over. Now the way I built these ones here is I just ran the 1x1 cylinders through, and then I just put the limbs through just like that there, like the branches or leaves or whatever you want to call it. You can see I probably just put one on the top there. It must have just fell off. But yeah, that makes it really super sturdy. I actually built this one a long time ago. I'm not really too happy with this one. It definitely needs to be filled out a bit more. But this one, like I ran the limb element that looks like this here, just right through the center of it. Whereas this one here, I sort of put them all over the place. But you can build these in different sizes because the flex tubing actually comes in a bunch of different sizes. And of course, you can cut it as well to whatever size you want. You can see that one there is one of the large flex tubing or hosing. So you can see that style of tree right here. They're all different sizes. We've got one, a little bit shorter one there. That's number 2, number 3, number 4, a little bit taller, number 5, number 6, and number 7. So they're all different heights and 2 different colors. Now I decided not to mix up the colors of my trees. For example, you could use the 2 different colors of leaves. Actually, you could use up to 3 because I also have the dark ones like this here. But I decided to keep them solid colors. That's how they were displayed at Empire Lug, and I was like, I actually really like that. So I decided to go with a single color, but of course, you could do multiple colors, and of course, you could add more limb elements coming out whatever which way you want. Now, similar to these ones, I also built these ones here. These ones are a little bit different because they use the larger bricks as the sort of trunk of the tree. They are the 2x2 circular bricks. Now the 2x2 circular bricks, they actually have a spot for a Technic Axle. So you can run a Technic Axle right through the center of those there. And something else that you could run too is that same hosing. You could run it right through the center of the tree. Now if you use the Technic Axle, which of course come in different sizes, it actually can run through the center just like that. Now the issue with the Technic Axle is this will not fit through the hole in the limb element. So in order to build these ones using the Technic Axle, you have to position your limbs sort of like that there. You can't stick it through the axle. And if you wanted to fill that one spot there with like a 1x1 stud or something like that to represent a tree knot, you could do that. And then of course you would just put your next circular brick on top. Or if you wanted to change the distance that your branches come out, you can use those. Or if you wanted to change the separation between your branches, you could add these 2x2 circular plates as well. So you can see that I use a combination of all of those things to create these deciduous trees. Now these things are massive because I used the massive Technic axles that are just like this tall, literally, and rammed it through the whole thing. So this thing is literally like very stable. Like you can just pick it up and be like, Wingardium Leviosa. Like you could use it as a wand if you want, right? Like you could be a Harry Potter character with this tree, which I think is super cool and definitely something new here for the Lego room. So yeah, really cool deciduous trees that I really enjoyed building. The two different styles there, either using the cylinders or the 2x2 bricks. Now the third type of tree that I decided to build were these guys here. Now these are all very similar. So this is how they originally started. You just use some of those arch elements there and they're all held together by 2x2 brick, and then you got some 1x2 slopes on the bottom. But you can supersize them just by sort of continuing that and making it taller and taller and taller. And you can essentially make it as tall as you want. Now with the third and final one, which is actually bigger because it has a wider trunk and some larger arch elements on the bottom. So it's actually a thicker tree and just overall much bigger, but you can see where they started and where they've gone to. In fact, I've actually built a bigger one than this one here. And that is, of course, Bart Simpson's treehouse. Now this thing has moved around a bunch, so a bunch of the limbs fell off, but of course, any of these tree designs, you can add as many branches and as many leaf elements as you want. And this is Bart Simpson's treehouse. You can see I've built it sort of the similar way. A really thick trunk on that one, Bart Simpson's treehouse, and then the arches coming off the top there to make some branches and stuff. So that's very similar style to the ones that I was just showing you there. So yeah, that's our trees. Pretty basic builds actually. Just make sure you use that hosing to go through the center of them, or that large Technic axle, just because if you don't, they're all going to fall over on you and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. These ones are all brick built. They're really sturdy, right? They're good. But these are some of the largest trees that I've ever built for our campground. Let's place them and see what they look like. Wow, those look absolutely amazing. And they actually, you know, match the size of the treehouse. Actually, we could probably go a little bit bigger even. They're just massive though. I mean, I've just sort of temporarily placed them around because we've got to put campers and tents and also animals and stuff like that all throughout this campsite. So things will probably move around a little bit, but I'm really happy that we were able to build all of these trees. It actually only took us about 2 hours to build all of these. Granted, I mean, all of the pieces were sort of together and a lot of them were already like, you know, somewhat built. They just needed to be sort of reconstructed and redesigned, but still, they look really good and they actually match the size of the treehouse, which is awesome. I think the treehouse is going to look a lot better there. And I'm really happy that we were able to build all of these trees. If you have any questions for me in regards to the construction of these trees, I guess comment below. But overall, I mean, pretty much covered it, right? 2x2 bricks with the axles or the flex tubing. The flex tubing, I just call it flex tubing, but it's like hose or something like that if you look it up on Bricklink. Running through the cylinders with the limb elements, and then just these slopes and also bricks, and once again those leaf elements to construct these larger trunked trees there. Yeah, I actually do have some backlog videos as well that show you how to construct some of these as well, just not like the massive ones, just the smaller ones like this here. But yeah, thank you so much for popping on by. Hope you enjoyed this little update here on Lego trees being placed into the campground. Super excited to continue with this area, but we've got some other stuff that we got to tackle right now. But make sure you stay tuned, remember, like, subscribe, and farewell.